Hey guys, Jared here, Magnetic Men's Club. The purpose of my channel is to help men educate themselves, uplift themselves, encourage themselves to become the best versions of themselves as possible. I know that sounds all hokey pokey, and I know it sounds like these are cute little buzzwords, but at the end of the day, most men are struggling in their lives. At the end of the day, most men are actually becoming less and less every year. I know you can become more and more. I want to talk about time. I'm 48 years old, but I remember when I was a kid. I don't know why this particular memory keeps coming up for me, but it was I want to say it was when I was in third going into fourth grade, my summer vacation. I just remember it so vividly. I remember going out day after day. As soon as I had, breakfast, I grabbed my brothers, grabbed the kids down the street, and we would just get into all kinds of things. We had woods in our backs. We made, war games, and we created forts. And then we would come into somebody's house because it was too hot. Maybe we would just hang out down in one of my friends' room. I remember they had this porch and we all kind of just hung out there. One had a pool, so we'd all go swimming. The days just seemed to drag, and in a good way. They just seemed to be filled with so much experience, so much fun. And once the street light came on, pretty much knew it was time for us to go home. It's time for some dinner, time to unwind for the day. And I remember this summer that it just dragged. I'm like, man, we have 2 months off. Isn't this amazing? And I truly felt every single one of those days. I don't remember what happened every single day, but I felt that every day was a new experience. And that's what happens when you're young. And when we get older, we kind of lose that newness. We kind of lose that novelty of life because life is kind of a way, it's predictable patterns. As you get older, you have a job, you may have kids, you might have a wife, you might have yard work if you have a house, you have certain things that you need to do. So the days just sort of seem to fly by, and especially the years. It's almost 2024. 2023, man, it flew by for me. I got into some new coaching programs. I got in creating this channel, so there's more work for me to do. But it just seemed to fly by. And I sat back one night a couple weeks ago. It's like, wow, where did this time go? And I said, you know what? I should do a video on this because maybe other people have had this thought on why does it seem that when we get older, time just seems to pass. But when we're young, we just have all the time in the world. We have so much interest in things, and everything we're so curious about, and time just seems to be on our side. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Maybe you're having some experience with this, or you've had some experience. I'd love for your comments. Maybe just share with me something that happened in your past where it just seemed to last forever and in a good way, and then something in your future where it just flew by. It's just one of those things. Now, obviously, time doesn't speed up as we get older. Time is time. It's all relative. But we think it does. There's this thought behind it, and it feels real that, right now I'm talking to you guys and it's like 5 o'clock and it seems like I just woke up and I had the whole day. Where my son, who got home from college, he's got nothing to do. He's probably just woke up, a few hours ago, and he's going to go hang out with his friends. It's in how are you using that time. It's in those spaces in that time that are filled up most of the time with garbage, most of the time with just stuff that we need to do just to live. And then some of that time, it's filled up with our experiences. It's filled up with those memories. Christmas is coming. It's a perfect example. If we're so fast to get to the holiday, if we're so fast to get the presents and get the food ready and bake the food and wrap the presents and get them under the tree, the days just seem to fly by, and all of a sudden Christmas is here and it's gone. And we didn't really get to experience Christmas. We didn't really get to experience the family. So there's a few ideas out there that make sense on why this idea of time seemingly speeding up as we get older and seemingly stop or very slow when we're younger. So the younger you are, the greater chunk of existence you have. So basically, if you're 1 year old, you only have 1 year of experience on this earth versus a 30-year-old, which is 1/30th of that person's existence in the world. So the proportional perception is a 1-year-old only has perception based on 1 year's worth of existence, 1 year's worth of experience, 1 year's worth of knowledge. As you get older, you have more experiences, you have more knowledge, you have more ups and downs, more heartaches, more joys, more sufferings. And so you have a bigger pool to draw from. So a 30-year-old has 1/30th of that experience based on 30 years, where that 1-year-old has 1 year's worth of experience. So it makes sense that everything that 1-year-old is experiencing, they're experiencing it for the first time. And that 30-year-old, because we generally have the same type of day in and day out, going to work, cooking, cleaning, maybe going on dates, maybe dating your wife. All of these things are basically the same daily. Our brains file it differently. That type of information really just goes right into our subconscious. It's almost autopilot. Like driving your car to work. You're listening to the radio, you might even be texting somebody, and all of a sudden you're at work. You don't know how you got there. It's because you've done it so many times, your brain just knows how to get there. The only time that something changes is if a circumstance between the time you leave your driveway to the time you enter the parking lot of your job. A car swerves in front of you. There's a detour, and now you got to go around the detour. That's when your brain kicks in and you remember that moment. You're like, oh, that car almost hit me. And it jerks you and it jumps you up, and you're wondering, what the hell happened? You're running on autopilot until that happened. And your subconscious mind clicked in, which fired on your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. It jolted you back into your conscious mind so you can make split-second decisions to move. This is what happens. Most of our lives are run by our subconscious mind, autopilot. So the day might drag on, but those years, they seem to fly. They turn into decades, and they just seem to be like, what the hell? I'm 48 now. And this is why it feels as we get older, time is going faster. And really, it's not. We just have the same experiences every single day for the most part that our brain doesn't really register it. It's not a new experience, so it gets filed under old, same experiences. So because our lives are basically just kind of a series of the same thing day in and day out, how can we take parts of our lives and enjoy them to a point where we can remember them, where we have these experiences, we have some of this joy, and it's not just autopilot. It's not just our subconscious mind kicking in, and all of a sudden we're 50, 60, 70 years old, and we're wondering, where the F did our lives go? A lot of that stems from the predictability of our lives create that space of time where your brain kind of disregards it. It files it under the same. So what you need to do is create unpredictability in your life. And this comes from one of the second needs or behavioral needs we all need, is that need for some unpredictability in our lives. That unpredictability in our lives creates memories. It creates a wedge in that time where your brain is actually forced to carve out that particular moment, right around good or bad, and it's forever buried into your mind. It's forever frozen there. An example for me would be ex-wife at the time. It was her weekend with the kids. I got a phone call frantically from my daughter, and it was any other day. And I was watching a basketball game with my brother at a local bar. And my daughter says, "You need to get to mom's house right now." This is an any other day. I just spoke to her a couple hours ago, and I could hear my daughter's voice. She didn't really explain what was going on. She was very young. Clearly she was upset. She was crying. I told my brother, "I gotta go." I went to my ex-wife's house. I just missed the ambulance. My instructions were, grab the kids, grab the dogs, just go up to my house. Okay? Needless that I did not know 6 hours from that point, I'd get a phone call around 2:30 in the morning from my mother-in-law that Jen passed away. Talk about a break in routine. Talk about something that hit so hard that I'll never forget what I was doing in the exact same moment. I'll never forget the feeling. I'll never forget the words that I said after that. Unpredictability, even though we didn't ask for it, it happens. And so when things like this happen in our lives, it forces your brain to timestamp that. Well, you get to do this in a good way, going on vacations, maybe going even on a road trip kind of unannounced, driving to work differently, doing things outside of the routine that we all have does create this need in us that we need to switch things up once in a while. And it can create this idea of our experiences are different, so it does map differently on our time. I remember one time I went on vacation. It was 3 days with the girl I was seeing, and it was some of the best 3 days of my life. It was just her and I. Our phones, I basically had my phone off the entire time. We were just enjoying ourselves. And those 3 days just seemed to last forever. Got there on a Friday. We left like on a Sunday night. And I still remember that vacation. I still remember how amazing it was. It's just her and I shooting the shit down in Florida, going to some restaurants we've never been to. And so this is how you create new memories. This is how you create, and you can sort of stop time a little bit, especially as you get older, is by doing these random things, doing these things that sort of force your brain to timestamp this out so that it remembers it, because it is a new experience. It's something you haven't learned. It's not something that's random, so your brain has to file it in a different way. I'm going to definitely do a lot more of that in 2024. I've gotten to a point in my life where I did a massive shift in some of the businesses that I've owned. I largely got out of real estate because where I am, the real estate market has been on fire. So I decided to sell off a lot of my real estate so that I have cash to plow into new companies that require less of my time, so that I can enjoy going on some vacations more. I can start creating content in different areas of the country where largely I'm sort of forced up in my office because of the real estates I had to kind of be up here. But my goal for 2024, I have a few of them, but one of them is to slow down so that I can enjoy some of the experience or some new experiences of going on vacation, of just taking my daughter, and we're going to add another location into a business that she helped me create, and it's expanding. And I'm just going to enjoy that process of watching her create it once and have her recreate it again. My son wants to get into some other types of businesses, so I'm just going to be there as a resource to them so that they can lean on me from my years of experiences starting companies, my years of experiences on failures that I've had. And I just can't wait to kind of just enjoy those experiences. And hopefully I can slow my next year down a little bit. So it's just doesn't seem like 2023 just flew by. I want to look into 2024 this time next year and say, man, we went to some amazing places. We did some amazing things and I got to enjoy them. I just didn't do it to tick the box. I take 2024 trying new things, being scared a little bit about trying new things, but creating those experiences. Because it's in those experiences that kind of create who we are, that spice of who we are in life. And that's something I'm certainly going to do a lot more of in 2024, and I invite you guys to do the same. With that, my name is Jared Schoonmaker. This is Magnetic Men's Club. We do have a brand new 100% free course. It's linked down below. There's free sprint courses in there. One is on confidence and charisma. The other one is on empowering questions. And every month I drop a new course. We also have a lot of articles, a lot of discussions within the community that I want you guys to be a part of. And you'll see in there all the different categories that we're touching upon, or the ideas that we're touching upon for the Magnetic Men channel to help educate, uplift, and enlighten all men to realize we are way more than what society tells us. What society has told us is a lie. And we're here to reclaim unapologetically our masculinity, our healthy masculinity. With that, my name is Jared Schoonmaker, and we're going to talk soon. Thanks. Bye.